Well, we have the latest on the national wave of protests on the war in Gaza on college campuses all across the country, starting at Stanford University, where their students have joined the fight. This was the scene on Stanford's campus last night. Hundreds of students set up tents and signs saying, "Divest now" and "Hands off Rafah." They plan to stay until the university meets their demands. We talked to one student protester who says he's risking a whole lot for a cause he sees as bigger than himself.
Say I were to get arrested or say I were to be expelled or suspended from the school, that would deeply impact me and my family because I support them with the money that I get from here. And in understanding that, I weighed the personal consequences and my own personal beliefs and felt compelled to do what I can to be out here.
Ramirez says Stanford sent out mass emails to a student body that suspension or expulsion is possible if they violate student policies. Meanwhile, students at UC Berkeley have entered day 4 of their campout in front of Sproul Plaza. They demand the university name Israel's actions in Gaza as genocide and cut all corporate ties with the country. As other campuses across the country see arrests by police, you may be wondering why we have not heard of any arrests on Bay Area campuses. Well, Cal released a statement saying they will not involve law enforcement unless it's absolutely necessary to protect the physical safety of the campus community because of experience of nonviolent political protests. Well, Governor Gavin Newsom says he's also monitoring the campus demonstration and is working with university trustees to make sure they remain peaceful. At UCLA, students on their campus have also started their own campout in front of Royce Hall. Activists on both sides of the conflict showed up to the demonstration with some shoving and grabbing signs out of protesters' hands. UCLA faculty says they support students protesting as long as they remain peaceful. Meanwhile, students who were not involved in the conflict say they are torn on what side to stand on.
I feel like I know people from both sides of the conflict, and generally I don't take a side yet.
It's unknown how long the demonstrations will last. UCLA officials say they have no plans to force them out just yet.
I'm a graduate student. Can you respond to me? Are you such a coward that you can't respond to me? Why are you doing this? Give me a reason why you're doing this. I go to the school. I have a right to go here.
Oh my God! You people are fascists! You are Hitler! You are laughing dogs! Shame on you! May you never live another day!
I am a professor!
This is an every professor, everyone!
I am a professor of economics!
You are rabid dogs! You are fascists!
It was a peaceful protest until they started fighting troopers. I agree with you.
L-I-N. I reacted impulsively. I apologize.
No, you're right. It's right to rebel. I'm gonna share this.
Please remove the handcuffs.
Get back! Get back! Get back! Get back! Castro!
As night fell on UCLA's campus, some chose to stay inside a makeshift encampment, promising to call it home in the name of the Palestinian people.
I'm Israel Chai!
All day long, the plaza in front of the Shapiro fountain was a scene of chanting and some shoving. Some were grabbing signs from those trying to express themselves either peacefully or not so peacefully on both sides of an issue that has divided the world and campuses all over the nation.
I feel like I know people from both sides of the conflict, and yeah, generally I don't take a side yet.
Students not involved simply walked around. Some watched, others were annoyed.
Stupid. Like, it's not well thought through, in my opinion.
But this demonstration wasn't just reserved for students.
I'm a Middle Eastern, and I'm sick and tired of this insanity. God bless America.
Alumni, faculty, and neighbors also came by.
We think it's very, very important that we protect the rights for students to protest here peacefully on campus.
Professor Michael Cha teaches political science.
We just recently seen like 80 students get arrested at USC, 100 students get arrested at Columbia. You know, the troopers being brought out at University of Texas. This cannot happen. We should all be able to treat each other with respect and learn from each other.
As the night went on, the fence grew stronger. As pro-Palestinian activists chose to build a wall, many wearing masks and the keffiyeh in the Palestinian colors of black and white.
Do you feel up to talking to us about why you came and why it's important?
I'm certainly allowed to. I really don't want to.
They refused to speak with us and pushed us away, but one demonstrator did speak earlier.
We are here to make sure that the UC is not actively funding the violence that's happening abroad.
And although it's not clear how long this will last, many inside seem to come and go. And the university says it has no plans at this time to force them out.
Just wondering if it's going to escalate like the other campuses have.
Let them go!
At Emory University, clashes between police and pro-Palestinian protesters.
Let them go!
It's the latest escalation as students and faculty at campuses across the country mobilize against Israel's war with Hamas in Gaza. At the University of Texas, Austin, a calmer day than the one before, when more than 50 people were arrested. Students, though, still pushed for the university to cut ties with the Israeli government.
So just go and look at me in the cameras on here. First question is, what's your name?
Mahina Kaomea.
Can you spell that, please?
Mahina.
And
Last name Kaomea.
And you're a student here at Stanford?
Yes.
Tell me, what's going on here today?
I'm here because I answered the call from the sit-in to stop genocide and students against apartheid in Palestine to be here and to defend this encampment that has been set up. We've set up an encampment here and a liberated zone And we're really excited to be launching programming through our People's University to really talk about what's happening in Palestine and Gaza right now, and to bring awareness and to escalate in solidarity with all that has been going on lately.
What are you hoping the university does?
We're really calling upon the university to disclose their investments, to be really transparent about what they are and are not investing their huge endowments in, and to divest from any and all companies that are participating in the ongoing genocide and occupation of Palestine.
And we talked about off camera, but just so I can set how many people showed up today?
I think this has been our biggest action yet. We've had 400, maybe 500 people come through to the rally, to picket, to defend those who are staying in the encampment. And I'm really excited about all the energy and the momentum that this means, and the awareness that this is bringing to people on our campus community and hopefully beyond, about our dreams for a free and liberated Palestine, and also for liberation and land back for Indigenous peoples around the world.
And how many people are staying overnight? Rough guess, it doesn't have to be exact.
I think around 100 people will be staying tonight. And yeah, this is also a call for people who are able to be here, to be in those tents, and to put your bodies and on the line to the degree that you're able for a free Palestine.
And how long are you willing to be out here, I guess?
I think we're really taking it day by day, but our ultimate goal is for Stanford University to divest from the genocide that is happening right now in occupied Palestine, and I think we are willing to stay for as long as it takes and as long as we're possibly able to stay. And I think something that I'd like to tell everyone who's listening to this right now is that we keep us safe. The police has never kept us safe, the military has never kept us safe, but the more of us that are out here to defend this encampment, to defend this liberated zone that we have created, the safer that we will be together.
I was going to ask about the Stanford's response to it, because we've seen at other colleges, they're saying we're not having this, police are going in, people are getting arrested. What's this university done so far today?
So far, they've brought the police in to serve people letters, but those letters have just been from the Office of Community Standards, which is a campus disciplinary process. There has not been like a legal request for people to disperse. And so because of that, we're continuing to remain firm, and we're having this sort of revolutionary optimism that we can continue to be out here, that we can continue to provide programming and education for people tomorrow morning.
And last question for me on the suspect of disciplinary actions. Other colleges have suspended students. I don't know if it's something that's crossed your mind when you came out here that this could happen. What do you think? Is it worth it to you if Stanford said you got to go?
I mean, I think you're right with what we've been seeing at colleges around the country. It's definitely possible. Because that hasn't come up yet, we're just continuing to stay the course, and we're going to be here. And I think ultimately there are many people who are willing to transgress against the university in order to achieve our larger goal of disclosing and divesting the university's investments.
Oh, last question. What do you have planned for tonight and tomorrow as far as what's going on inside this zone?
Yeah, just a little bit earlier there was a film screening, and tomorrow morning we're actually going to launch our People's University classes. I'm actually helping to teach one with a friend, but sort of the point of this programming is to provide an alternative or a counter to the admit weekend programming that has been happening. One of our friends who spoke at a rally the other day said that, you know, Stanford says that there's a place for everyone here, but there's only a place for you here if you're willing to accept the university and, by extension, your complicity in genocide and apartheid and militarism. And I think we want to show admits who are coming to programming, we want to show anyone who is hearing about our programming, who is listening to this, that we want to make a different kind of space at this university, at universities around the country and the world. We want to make a space for education that honors the real histories of people and that honors our solidarities with each other and allows us to cultivate those solidarities towards collective liberation.
As night fell on UCLA's campus, some chose to stay inside a makeshift encampment, promising to call it home in the name of the Palestinian people.
I'm Israel Chai!
All day long, the plaza in front of the Shapiro fountain was a scene of chanting and some shoving. Some were grabbing signs from those trying to express themselves either peacefully or not so peacefully on both sides of an issue that has divided the world and campuses all over the nation.
I feel like I know people from both sides of the conflict, and yeah, generally I don't take a side yet.
Students not involved simply walked around. Some watched, others were annoyed.
It's stupid. It's not well thought through, in my opinion.
But this demonstration wasn't just reserved for students.
Devin, the campus of Cal Poly Humboldt County is closed through the weekend. Earlier this week, pro-Palestinian protesters occupied several buildings and managed to fight back police trying to clear them out. Demonstrators are now holding their own programs and discussions. Yesterday, members of the California Faculty Association held a teach-in.
I'm incredibly proud of my students. This is precisely what we educate students to do, right? To use their voices, to intervene in the world, and to fight to make the world a better place.
Supporters of the protesters have been providing resources to the demonstrators, handing out food and blankets. Jason Allen has more on other protests across the country.
Campus crackdown at Atlanta's Emory University. Police tore down tents erected this morning, and some appear to be tased by police. Some students and faculty were led away in handcuffs. Here at the University of Texas, Austin, dueling protests. Pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli protesters facing off on campus with security watching.
It is my understanding that University of Texas at Austin funds research that Israel directly benefits from.
On the campus of USC, the LAPD used their batons to disperse a large crowd of protesters late last night, the school canceling the main stage commencement ceremony. CBS's Nancy Chen is at Columbia University.
Dozens of tents remain here at Columbia University as we near a midnight deadline. School administrators have set to clear this lawn. Right outside it, Israeli flags. And some Jewish students we spoke to say they feel scared to be on campus.
Many of us knew people or at the music festival or that lived nearby. I'm sorry, I'm getting very emotional about that. And adding to that, the situation where people scream hateful speech, who have harassed and attacked both verbally and physically people, is just making it impossible to be here.
Back here in Austin, student demonstrators are still on campus, and police have stayed close by, but they have not made any moves to clear out this space the way they did before.
More pro-Palestinian protests have erupted on campuses across the country. At UCLA, protesters began putting up tents with a sign that read, "UCLA says free Palestine." At the University of Arizona, students held a solidarity march, and at Princeton, 2 students were arrested. Devin?
It's definitely disappointing.
To me, is that USC went the wrong way with that.
And I feel especially bad for the people who have nothing to do with this conflict.
Rapid reactions after USC announced that it has canceled the main stage commencement ceremony that was planned for May 10th. The university cited new safety measures put in place after escalating protests. The decision comes after nearly 100 people were arrested on campus yesterday following a day-long pro-Palestinian protest at Alumni Park, the site of the annual main commencement ceremony, which traditionally brings 65,000 students, families, and friends to campus all at the same time. The protesters demand that the university divest from Israel-tied organizations, cancel Israeli study abroad programs, and issue a statement calling for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war.
I'm very disappointed. As a senior who also was a senior in high school during the pandemic, it's part 2 of my graduations just being canceled after working very hard.
Senior Sabrina Jahan is also saddened by the violence that erupted on campus yesterday. She says as she and other Jewish students celebrate Passover, this empty Seder table honors the hostages still being held in Gaza.
After yesterday, we knew that it was more important than ever to make sure that this event happens because so many of us Jewish and pro-Israel students on campus felt more unsafe than we ever have.
The protest was also fueled in part by USC's decision to prevent valedictorian Asna Tabassum from speaking at the commencement ceremony. Critics say she made online posts that were anti-Semitic, including a call for the abolition of Israel.
For me, what USC should have done is reinstate Asna as the commencement speaker and to reinstate some of the other commencement speakers for the event, but instead they went ahead and canceled more aspects of the main commencement, so I think it was the wrong decision.
The university says it'll hold smaller individual school ceremonies in which graduates can walk across the stage to receive their diplomas.
I am sad. I do see where the university is coming from, and we're just going to pivot is what we're going to do. We're going to be adaptable and flexible, just like we were 4 years ago when the pandemic kind of came in and ruffled things for my high school graduation.
Turn around.
Divest from Israel, which is a message that has been echoed by university students across the country, from Columbia to Yale to Harvard and so many more. I spoke with one man at the rally holding an Israeli flag. He said this rally comes too late and that the focus should not be on condemning Israel, but rather Hamas.
I absolutely think that the encampment is, really showing that Palestinians are not alone in their struggle. We are trying to emphasize that, as the Palestinians have shown us over the last 7 months in the face of this genocide, that that they are here to stay, and so are we until UC divests. We're not going anywhere.
This was supposed to be a peaceful demonstration.
Chaos erupts on the University of Texas at Austin's campus during a pro-Palestine protest Wednesday afternoon.
The original itinerary of this sit-in included scholastic teach-ins, but the presence of police with batons, chemical weapons, pepper bullets is making us all on edge.
UT students in support of Palestine plan to walk out on campus Wednesday morning to show their solidarity. The plan was to march and protest across the university, but that was cut short when students were met by multiple law enforcement agencies brought in to control the crowds.
Every escalation has been done by the police.
Students were banned from stepping on the lawn. Law enforcement agencies surrounded the grass, and when students came close, they were met with force.
Our money should not be funding a genocide. That is the simplest message.
As a result, on multiple occasions, the CBS Austin news crew ended up being pushed over and shoved. Several students were detained during the protest, and 2 local media members arrested.
This has evolved way further than it has because of the free speech. I've talked to a few kids here, my friends. I was like, oh, I didn't know you were supporting Palestine. And they're like, no, I just saw all the arrests and think this is crazy.
Students say the purpose of their message ended up being blurred when tensions peaked because of the heavy police presence. But students say they came by the hundreds to make their voices heard.
Please stop taking our money and giving it to weapons manufacturers. It's not okay with us, and we have a right to make that declaration.
I'm here at UC Berkeley, where, as you can see, more than 100 Gaza protesters continue to camp out right outside the Sproul Hall building. I talked to some of them about their concerns. Malak Afani, a law student at the university and a daughter of Palestinian immigrants, stands among over 100 pro-Palestinian protesters who have set up camp outside Sproul Hall. Their message is clear. They call for a ceasefire in Gaza and demand action from the university.
It is absolutely ridiculous that the university that prides itself on diversity, equity, and inclusion, Berkeley specifically on having a very radical history of student organizing, refuses to stand on the side of justice and divest.
Malak tells me that this Thursday marks the 4th day of their demonstrations. The group has outlined some key demands.
One being that the UC administration end their silence, that they categorize what is occurring in Palestine as a genocide because they have failed to do so. The second is utter and complete UC financial divestment from any entity complicit in apartheid, especially weapons arms manufacturer companies.
But Malak is not alone. Youssef, a mechanical engineering student at UC Berkeley, shows his support by assisting with the protesters' logistics.
I feel like if all of us, if students on this campus, citizens of this country, so on and so forth, really experience even a fraction of the pain, the fear, the violence that Gazans, Palestinians as a whole live under day by day in Gaza, Rafah, and so on and so forth. I feel like if we understood even a fraction of that pain, all of us would be out here.
The students say they are willing to risk expulsion and arrest. UC Berkeley officials say they are observing the demonstration, but there has been no disruptions of university operations. A spokesperson says the university guidance directs us not to request law enforcement involvement preemptively, and only if absolutely necessary to protect the physical safety of the campus community. The governor is also following the campus demonstrations.
We're working with the trustees and with the university systems as it relates to our public role and responsibility. And so we're very mindful of what's going on the campuses and want to maintain people's rights to protest, at the same time do so peacefully without any hate. We don't want any more. I just want to avoid a lot of what we're seeing in other parts of the country.
In the meantime, more students keep joining the protest. According to Malak, at least 100 students have been camping out here since the beginning of the protest, and they say they're not planning on going anywhere until they see results.
I'm optimistic that we will achieve our goal of divestment. We're willing to risk suspension, expulsion, and arrest until divestment is achieved, and we're not going anywhere.
And ultimately, they all agree on one thing: it's time to end this conflict that's been happening for too long.